What's up YouTube and welcome to Jayce Heimerdinger's Shadow Isles. A bit of a unique take on the tech deck concept. This one caught my attention though because it has been sporting some pretty formidable win rates in the Masters rank, and while the stats are not amazingly solid because low sample size and there's a lot of different deck lists running around, I was very intrigued by the concept, and this is the deck list that I ended up on. I tried refining it a bit. Not saying it's polished by any means, there are a lot of tech choices, but a very solid and well-rounded core, and this allows for a very flexible playstyle. First of all, let me tell you right away, this deck is pretty tough to play because it usually requires a lot of setup. It requires planning multiple turns ahead, very concise mana management, as well as matchup knowledge, basically knowing how much mana to keep for certain removal spells and how much mana to invest into going proactive and setting up a tech army. I'll just give you a very rough overview of the big combos and the big win conditions in our deck. So first of all, we have the amazing opening of Hextech Handler as early as turn 4. So especially if we're playing against mid-range or slow decks, we often want to look for a production surge or something like an assembly line for our turn 3 play. Bank spell mana on turn 1 and 2, cast something for 6 mana, and then we can already buff our attacks permanently as early as turn 4 for a big power spike. Especially if our opponent lacks AoE removal, this is usually going to be our best opening, and it does allow us to aggro down some opponents in certain matchups. This can all be supported by Forge Chief as long as she does get the strike off. If you play against a deck that, for example, runs Valfeast, I would rather take the safe route and just bank spell mana, go for the 6 mana opening instead. Talking about 6 mana spells and 6 mana openings, that's a bit what this whole deck revolves around. We of course have Jayce, which will usually level up around turn 6 or 7 already, double the value of our spells, can be an insane finisher on his own if we acceleration gate our whole tech army. After we dropped something like a production surge earlier on or assembly lines, this of course will find a lot of targets. And the other upside is Heimerdinger's 6 mana turret, which is of course the elusive one. At 1 HP this is still fairly vulnerable, there's a lot of pings in the meta, but if you either play a Hextech Handler before, it's gonna be out of AoE range. If you level Heimerdinger with a production surge or with the handlers or Adaptatrons, it's also going to be out of removal range for most spells. Also keep in mind that if we have a level Jayce on the board, he's going to double our 6 cost spells, therefore generating 2 elusive turrets at the same time. Usually that should suffice in finishing power. Another very sweet combo we can set up is play an Adaptatron first, then play an elusive turret, and then all of our bots that we play afterwards will share the elusive keywords. So then playing something like a production surge afterwards is just amazing. We'll usually have a full board of elusive units and can usually one-shot our opponent from 20 to 0 in one attack. And Adaptatron is also a very weird card in the deck, and it's often tough to find the best time to play it because there's also a lot of upside in playing Adaptatron before you play Production Surge, so that the little bot gets all the keywords and will then later on share it onto the other bots that you summon. The only issue is a lot of those keywords are not that useful. For example, Tough, Fearsome Overwhelm only situationally, Barrier only lasts 1 round. So the only really big payoff will usually be sharing elusive keywords. And also we don't really want to play the guy on turn 1 because it scuffs our mana curve, right? Then we probably don't get the 6 mana production surge or assembly line on turn 3, which is quite crucial for our game plan. Nonetheless, let's look at the rest of the deck. It's mostly utility as well as removal tools. So we have a bunch of card draw and Glimpse Beyond. Progress Day. This is especially amazing if we run out of steam, have a level Jayce. Progress Day just pops off completely. Ferros Financier, a bit of early game, great against aggro decks as well as finding value for later on. The 6+ cost spell pool in this region combination is also just very solid. He'll usually find us some very good cards. And then for removal, Valfeast's Box, it's a very good meta call. I think Withering Wail is not really worth playing as of right now. We kind of replaced that with boxes as well as Piercing Darkness. Better single target spell removal. The added heal effect can be neat. It spawns a Heimerdinger turret. It can be double cast by Jayce. And apart from that, of course, Triple Vengeance, absolute staple. And a Shock Blast, great utility tool either as an aggressive finisher, burn damage for the Nexus, or for board control in the mid game, ideally also spawning an Elusive Turret. I can only recommend trying this deck. I feel like the archetype, the concept has a lot of potential, but I warned you right away, it did take me a bit of time to fully grasp the deck and play it to its full potential, to really find those combos, find those power spikes around Heimerdinger's turret and around Adaptatron. But what I really liked is that we can go both ways. We can go full control, completely outgrind our opponent, but we can also sometimes go full tempo and smork our opponent down before they can react. And I have a bit of both in my gameplay examples. I'll tell you right away, some of the games were taken from my Twitch stream and my internet was a bit laggy again, so I apologize for some frame drops and some lags, but the games were a bit too good to not show.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
Pizza Zone. Braum Swain, that's an interesting matchup. I assume it's Scargrounds? So my opponent play removal for Adaptatron. The high road potential is really high with this card. Let's keep it. Nice.
Remember, we're the ones who make progress happen.
Okay, that's huge. I can play Adaptatron on turn 2, open attack with this on turn 3, and still have enough mana for a 6 mana production surge. Of course, if now my opponent ice shards, it's a bit dire, but it would look like a waste of an ice shard on their side. Does this change anything? I don't think so. Ooh, that's sand. Change of plans then. Then what we'll do is we'll play this after we got Heimer on the board. Interesting. Probably Progress Day. Don't think we'll have enough board space for harrowing. Quick attack should be good. Nothing I really need to challenge here. Good chance my opponent drops Braum, but I think that would be fine.
Hey, big man. You ready to get bitten? All day, every day, Reggie.
I really want the little guy to survive. Share some elusive over.
Powering up. I've carved meat bigger than you.
Okay, that's a lot of removal that does not hit Heimerdinger, which is great for us.
Eminently logical.
Oh, come on. Nasty draw. Good thing we picked Progress. Yeah, Progress Day though, for refill.
Unforeseen outcome.
How can Braum help?
Shock Blast, these two looks good. It's also a decent opportunity to play Progress Day. We might not really get better ones. Shock Blast, then next turn we play Progress Day, have 2 mana left. Nah. Not the worst.
Have you met my shield? It is easy, see?
Ooh. And Learn to Surge looks interesting. If I want to play around Avalanche, I need to play the second handler first though. Handler into Forge of Tomorrow is also good. The next turn we start regaining tempo. And drone's also just decent. But we would take more damage than I would like to take. Basically, the only threatening thing my opponent can do is something like Swain into Leviathan. But with the Forge, we could double Vengeance next turn, actually. Is Troll Chant a thing here? Maybe. Oh, the greed. Holy smokes. I could have anything here. Wild Feast, Thermo, be Mystic Shot. What? Can't tap below Vengeance mana for Leviathan. Perfect.
I fight for a brighter tomorrow.
This spawns a T-Hex. Quick attack. Question is whether or not my opponent has Ice Shard here. Could let Combat Resolve play Piercing Darkness. Keep Vengeance for Leviathans and Swains. I think with the Jayce leveled, you're not that like, Piercing Darkness will basically be a Vengeance. Double cast Production Surge, maybe? Don't mind just Shock Blasting here, but it's probably not worth it. He can never double cast Shock Blast anyways, maybe it's not too bad. Ooh, now we can tee off though. Just need an Elusive Turret and then Production Surge. It's gotta break the game. Going down to 6 should be safe. Don't really need to control the board. Everything's gonna be elusive except for these two. We can just burn them down. Yeah, I don't think there's anything my opponent can play that's threatening here. Even if they play Swain, we just set up an open attack. So for buff efficiency, we play this first, then play Production Surge. For keyword efficiency, we should have played the tough turret first, but we... Oh, okay, we don't get tough here. There it is, though. Well, Heimer's done his job at this point. That is a power turn. We got, what, 16? 30 elusive damage onto the board in one turn. G to the G. And this deck is scary when it pops off. But like, did Worlds get enough or generate enough hype? I love Karma. Yeah, Karma is only fun now that she's balanced. I'm not sure if you played way back in the days, like around the release of Legends of Runeterra and in beta. Karma was bad shit broken. And it was so annoying to play against her. Now, yeah, now I definitely agree. She's really fun and you can pull off some insane combos with her. Sunny is in the mix as well. How are you doing? FreshLobster stream? Yeah, my internet is definitely giving me a hard time recently. But I have hopes. Right now I'm planning to move in March, maybe to Berlin. Oh, Ruination could be good in this matchup. This is Kek W, this is also Kek W. Let's stick with Ruination. So yeah, the strongest deck in the game back in the days, I still think it might have been the strongest raw power level deck of all time, was Ezreal Karma. Back then Ezreal still did 2 damage to the enemy nexus for any spell. Wait, Ocelot lives in Berlin? Oh, I didn't know that. G2 headquarters are in Berlin? It's crazy. But yeah, a lot of esports does revolve in Berlin and in Cologne, right? Lots of hotspots in Germany. As Elnox was probably stronger. Oh, that's actually a good point. But I do think Ezreal Elnox was had a higher win rate on average, but Ezreal Karma in the hands of the right players. I don't think I've ever played a deck that broken. The thing is, it had an insanely high skill cap. Like, it might have been the hardest deck to pilot of all time, but also arguably the strongest of all time. Potsdamer Platz, especially Berlin, Cologne only has ESR. Yeah, maybe times changed quite a lot. I just remember back in the days when LCS was in Cologne. It must have been like 2011, 12, 13-ish. Berlin is at the top in Europe esports. That's nice though. And I mean, Berlin is a pretty amazing city. Okay, so I think what we want to do is let this go through. We don't contest this and set up a search for next turn. If it gets denied, we're kind of screwed, but we at least delay their Kinku Wayfinder as well. But yeah, Karma Ezreal back in the days was literally an OTK deck. Like a machine gun OTK deck. You would just not touch your opponent's Nexus until turn 10. Like, your only goal was to not die. And on turn 9, you try to play Karma and Ezreal, so you have full mana for turn 10. And then you would... That was the most infuriating thing. You could actually reliably, consistently kill your opponent from 20 to 0 without giving them a single action. Because every burst speed spell dealt 4 damage to the opponent's Nexus. Since it was double cast by Karma, and Ezreal's passive still dealt 2 damage to the Nexus. And then you would just do stuff like Deep Meditation, Karma Champion spell, You high roll a health pot and, I don't know, twin disciplines. That's already like 16 damage without your opponent ever getting a chance to act. It's crazy. Chump Wump, right. For Mushroom Clouds. Used to also be a tech. So crazy. 1 mana, deal 4 to the enemy Nexus and burst speed and shuffle 5 puff caps. I don't think swinging makes a lot of sense here. Then again, my opponent isn't really gonna... I think I keep these back. I don't think my opponent's gonna let Ahri dip down to 1 unless they have Conspirator. And they would still prefer to use Conspirator onto Kennen. Does as not proc twice anymore with Karma? He does, but now... I mean, the text got changed a long time ago, right? Because now it's only 1 damage to the Nexus per proc, unless it's targeted. And pretty much anything that targets your opponent's units is fast or slow speed. Which is a huge change, because now the OTK is not really... Like, now it's interactable, first of all. And second of all, it's really hard to do the full OTK. Because most things that target something on your opponent's side are a bit more on the expensive side. Okay. This is looking really bad. How do we flip the state of this game? I don't think I can let everything go through. Now the question is... something along these lines. I also kind of want in safety block, but I can't really afford to. I don't really want to lose these bots. Like, the best way for us to win is to be so aggressive that our opponent has to block defensively. That's our most effective way of removing their units. Okay, this went really well. Slows down the Ahri level up by a lot. Just keep Vial Feast open for now. Okay, interesting. Not quite sure what our opponent is trying to accomplish. This would be a good opportunity to play Heimerdinger, but I think we need to be aggressive here. Gotta try to clear out some stuff on the opponent's side of the board. Probably another Vengeance.
It's an awesome day for progress.
Wait, is this the Hextech handler again? But as like a little ninja with a hat? And this is also Jayce, right? Damn, I never realized how intertwined all of the arts is. Pimp Mobile. True. This does look like a car from Pimp My Ride. Imagine Exhibit just having a little fun with this. There's probably a whirlpool in the back. Get some neon lights on these rims. Financier's Exhibit. Yeah, I can definitely see it. Some actual dope jewelry. Wait, but is he electrocuting himself? This is electricity, right? Okay, maybe ditch that whirlpool idea. There's a PlayStation 2 in the back.
It will be done.
In the trunk. I mean, this car looks like it has sick hydraulics, though. Imagine just bouncing up and down.
The hunter approaches.
Okay. So our opponent is getting really low on value because we've been dodging their droplets so far. The only issue is... I can only deal with... Like, my opponent has a high density of champions and I can't deal with all of them effectively. What about... end round trying to go for a Ruination next turn? I think that's worse. Just because it loses so hard to a deny. That's also the last copy of Kennen, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, if Shock Blast goes through, we're well set up to win this.
The forest surrounds us. 2 steps into moonlight. The forest surrounds us. Blood steps. 2 steps into moonlight. Blood steps. 2 steps into moonlight.
Vengeance at 6 mana is now on par with Minimorph. I like the Vengeance buff and both at 6. Yeah, I agree. I would say Vengeance on average is going to be better than Minimorph. Of course, it is more interactable, but the extra payoff is pretty big. Like, not having your opponent have a 3-3. And I mean, a 3-3 body is worth 2 to 3 mana, right? If you think about it that way, like, Minimorph, in a way, is like an 8 to 9 mana burst speed Vengeance. But then again, yeah, burst speed does have its own merits in a lot of... I think I gotta contest this. I mean, worst case scenario, we force a deny. Which is still good. Best case scenario, shutting down droplets. It's like, it's not even... I don't even care that much about Ahri here. It's more about not allowing our opponent to find droplets and get their draw going. Alright. So yeah, depending on the meta, like Minimorph is better against things like Lee Sin, obviously, against combo decks, against things with Spell Shield, and in deny metas. But in a vacuum, yeah, Vengeance is significantly better card, I would say. Oh, it's my actual... Jesus, I am hungover. My brain didn't fully get back into my body yet. Okay. We'll never get a better opportunity to play Heimer. Oh, okay, now we're in trouble. Shock Blast looks natural. My opponent can probably bounce Kennen at this point, but it's more about getting the bot. Getting a big elusive hit in. Spell shields, you mean Bastion, not the keyword spell shields on unit? Yes. Yeah, mostly Bastion. Ouch. Is this lethal? Well, not anymore. I gotta admit, I didn't even count. I didn't even keep track of. I got a bit... I got caught off guard there. I still think we're fine though. If my opponent is holding 1 or 2 copies of Gohard and they're not having any other type of draw in their hand right now, we can definitely win this. And the issue is I can't really do any... Like, I can never tap below Vengeance mana. Because I can't... Oh, damn it. Allow my opponent to recall this. Gotta glimpse my own guy, I think. Okay. Somehow I imagined this to resolve a bit more favorably in my head. What is better, 2 Will with 2 Palm or 2 Will with 2 Minimorph? In which deck? Oh, that's a good draw though. We can go down to 1, it's no problem. Like, our opponent's only way of direct Nexus damage kills us anyway. And that would be the next pack your bags. And to be fair, there's a good chance our opponent finds it soon. The way they've been playing so far. Now it gets interesting though. Like, are we forced to Vengeance here? If my opponent has a recall for Cynen, we're kinda screwed. But we also don't have much time left, right? Now we can, in theory, double Vengeance. Where are these cards? Stuff like Homecoming, maybe? I mean, it's probably not units. If it was more Go-Hards, they would have been played. Could be another Nopify that didn't find a target yet. But apart from that, it has to be like Deny or Homecoming, right? Palm, maybe? Tristana's or just the meme deck? I mean, depends on what you're trying to accomplish. In a vacuum, I'd say 2 Minimorphs. It's gonna be better. Wait, no, this was the 3rd, right? Well, it's not like I have a choice. Like, if they have Pack Your Bags, we're dead anyway. Do I have to Vengeance Axa? I mean, what can these cards be? It has to be stuff like Palm, right? But I am kind of back to the wall here. So this levels Heimer. We still get this beam. The 4 mana bot will be a 5-2. That is... No, it's gonna be a 6-3. That's actually perfect lethal if our opponent doesn't have anything in hand anymore. But my assumption would be that they probably hold another Palm. What can you put on the stack here? It has to be Palm, right? Oh, that's a hot take. Why didn't you Homecoming Cynen earlier on? No go hard, no pack your bags. Okay, actually winnable. Actually unironically winnable. Pack your bags ink. Pack your bags would have been slammed onto the board immediately though. I'm just scared of some random elusive unit and this being a deny or some protective spell. Okay. I'm not expecting my opponent to hold double Palm. So there's a good chance we actually close this out here. Could be another Homecoming, but then my opponent would have had to Palm last turn. I'm so... What are these cards? I actually have no idea. Is it me or do Ahri Kennen players play really slow? I mean, it is a very complex deck to play. And also, I cannot complain about anyone else playing slowly. So we're looking for vengeances, and that should already win us the game. And Hextech handlers, of course. Got you live finally. Yeah, but my streaming hours are very unorthodox right now. Okay, this is an amazing start though. What, are you gonna hush this? Kidding me? Like, I could have played Adaptatron and just assume my opponent swings this turn, block the stem production surge. The payoff, of course, is really high. But I could also just surge now and then Tron into handler and just miss out on whatever keywords this gives, but I think it's fine. Alright, this white flame is gonna be a problem though, for sure. Can I turn on deck tracker? It's on. Just sometimes it is a bit buggy with Twitch. Man, my opponent's got some really tough decisions here apparently. I mean, at this point I can swing with Adaptatron as well. I think this is just a full swing. What a nasty board to have on turn 4. That's actually crazy.
This is your end.
Holy smokes. Just aggroing them down. With a deck that plays 25 control cards. Single combat could already level Shyvana here. It's a bit scary. No way, she's at 6, I can't count.
I see the heavens aflame, gods burning.
Oh no! What do I do now? Shock Blast is kinda tempting, but I think it's worse than just straight up developing. The snowball is real. I was considering teching and fading memories for this deck just because of how strong Hextech handler is. And the 0 mana synergy with Heimer, but I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, we're just going for the open attack lethal. Or rather, not necessarily lethal, but setting up Shock Blast. Atro.
It's an awesome day for progress.
That's a sneaky little win condition on the side. Single combat kind of makes sense for our opponent. Now we even have answers to Judgment. Let's go. I surprise him out with COVID and then I see he's streaming. Yeah, I might have to adapt my stream schedule to the hours where I can actually stream. Maybe I'll do more early streams in the future. There shouldn't really be an out to Shock Blast. I don't even know if that deck plays Guiding Touch at all. If they do, they shouldn't play multiple copies. Just bait our opponent into tapping under certain mana thresholds.
Let's get to work.
I think this early is not a good time. It's awkward for a lot of time zones. I mean, it's very nice for Asia, right? Watch her combo, I suppose. Same person. Same person who just played the Tarek deck. A true connoisseur, it seems. Does that deck play faces of the old ones? Ah, Jayce is a bit slow though in the opener. Alright, let's run him over. Trap her. Open pass is really good for my opponent. Oh, it's the Yeti deck. Shock Blast box. Feels wasteful. It might shut down some Yetis. The idea is, as long as we don't give our opponent a power spike with Abominable Guardian, we should be solid, like, should be stable. Oh, this is tempting. It's probably Heimer this turn. Turn 6 I play both of these. And turn 7 is where I pop off. Ideally I draw an Adaptatron till then. Scary. Okay. So far so good. The Abominable Guardian won't be spawned. That's why it was important to clear out the Ancient Yeti. Can I take the block? I'm not sure if that plays any AoE removal. Let's greet this. Can't afford to lose Heimer. This is where things get scary. Piercing Darkness into Production Surge looks good. My opponent might play cards like God Willow Seedling. Not quite sure which one of those to Darkness. The Overwhelm tag is nice, but my opponent gets more benefits of keeping these alive. I think it's fine though. This is the card my opponent least wants to recall with something like a Homecoming. Okay. Holy smokes, okay, we might be in trouble.
Suppose you want us working, eh?
Well, that is what I pay you for.
Look! Up there!
Need clearance, pal.
Boy, out!
Okay, we can probably close out the game on our next attack though.
What seems to be the problem?
Just thinking if we need to play Surge this turn. Or I could go Jayce, Shock Blast, Acceleration Gate, that's 16. We'll have It would be 1 mana short. Winnable. Definitely winnable. No deny, no homecoming, please. Just need 2 elusives to hit right now. Ooh, played it for 8 mana. Tapped out of almost everything. Challenger, right? Is that better than just spamming pots? Don't know what kind of rolls we get out of the surges. Not 100% sure if that's actually better, but
Nothing a little ingenuity can't fix.
it's kind of neat. Recall the Guardian to spawn a blocker, okay.
Spirit may act free of body.
Yeah, I think we win this right here. Just because we got challengers from the last one. GG, let's go.